So it is November 11th, and we have our 5 best bets for the college basketball slate here on Monday, as we are doing every single day here on the channel. Daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. I would say we're kind of on a heater right now. We went 5-0 a couple days ago on Saturday. We went 4-1, I do believe, yesterday. So we are 9-1 in our last 10 picks. Let's keep that momentum building today with our, again, 5 best bets for Monday, November 11th. And folks, if you have not yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily college basketball best bets here on the channel. Make sure to join us in about an hour for our NBA predictions that are also daily on the channel as well. And go make sure to check out our UFC 309 predictions posted yesterday. You got the pound for pound GOAT, John Jones, taking on Stipe Miocic in the main event this weekend at UFC 309 in Madison Square Garden. All right, let's get into the first of our 5 best bets. We start things off here with the 1 p.m. game. So again, this one's coming up in just a couple hours. On the Mountain West Network, we are taking the Air Force to cover the 10.5 points against Long Island University. Now, I made these graphics like 6 hours ago in the middle of the night. I guess this line maybe has moved to 12.5. I still think it's playable, but I do like the 10.5 better. We like the Air Force in this game. Okay, Jacksonville State is on the ban list after we bet on them to beat Air Force in their last game. But Air Force won that game despite having 2 11-0 runs go in the favor of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks. That's a big deal. Again, watching that Air Force team play, they were able to overcome adversity, and if they didn't have those 2 stretches where they gave up 11 points in one stretch and didn't score, they would have won that game by a lot more than 6 points. Now, Jacksonville State's a better team than the Long Island University Sharks. Okay, Long Island's played 2 games this season. They beat Ole Miss, and then they lost Ole Miss. They definitely did not beat Mississippi, and then they beat Pratt University, 102-42. I don't know what Pratt University is. I honestly don't care. They lost to Ole Miss. It is what it is. But look what Long Island was last year, okay? Not that great of a team. They went 7-22. Again, they didn't really beat anybody all that good last season. And I understand Air Force last year. They didn't blow anybody away either. Again, the Mountain West, the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the Mountain West are pretty bad, and Air Force, again, is one of them, like San Jose State, like Fresno State at points. They went 2-16 in the Mountain West last season. I get it. They went 9-22 overall last year. But Air Force, again, this is a team they should blow out. I just feel like it is. It's, guys, we're on today's Veterans Day too, right? Air Force has to blow them out. Again, we got to take everything into account here. It's Veterans Day. Air Force, again, playing the 1 p.m. game. They're the only game on at the time that they have to cover. I mean, sometimes it's as simple as, again, look at the holiday, and you got to think to yourself, maybe the Air Force is going to be more compelled to cover today against Long Island University. And also, again, Long Island University is going all the way from Long Island, New York to Colorado to play this game. I think Air Force is obviously the better team. Again, they were on the bad end of 2 11-0 runs in that game against Jacksonville State, and they still won. I feel good about the Air Force Falcons completely dominating this one. They've gotten 2 back-to-back huge nights out of their senior guard, and Ethan Taylor. Obviously, it's his 4th year at the Air Force. Averaged 13.5 last season, starting this season, averaging 26.5. I like Ethan Taylor to propel this team to victory. Give me the Air Force Falcons to beat Long Island. I think they will do it, and I think they will cover the 12.5 points as well. Let's go on to our next game. We go to Marshall. And I think there's a theme today, guys. We're picking big favorites. I don't see much value in underdogs today. I'm not going to lie. I normally try to get you some underdog picks, and I try to get you plus money. I don't see the most value in that today. Just looking at these games, I'm going to be honest. Not a lot of games that are close in the spread. I mean, the only one that I could find was North Dakota State and Cal State Bakersfield. You want a bonus pick? I'll give you North Dakota State as my one underdog pick. I didn't feel good enough about it to put it in the video, but that's a game that I think's not horrible. I think North Dakota State's able to go on the road and beat Bakersfield, but we'll see. That's not an official pick. I'm just giving you one. We go into this one, though. Marshall at home against Southern Indiana. Southern Indiana's not that great, guys. This team played one of the most pitiful endings to a basketball game I've ever seen against Bucknell. Now, don't get me wrong. I picked the Bucknell Bison to win that game. Shout out to their Latvian center in Noah Williamson, who is absolutely dominant and does literally everything for that Bucknell team. Regardless, and Bucknell obviously just lost a couple days ago to Kentucky, but I mean, that's expected, right? Guys, Southern Indiana played one of the worst endings to that game you could have possibly played. They had the lead with about 4 minutes to go. They were chucking up random shots. They lead with a minute. They had a 4-point lead with a minute to go, and they let Bucknell back in that game. And yeah, it was all Williamson who just absolutely dominated for the Bison. But the Screaming Eagles really struggled And that was at home. That was in their new arena. Now they go to Marshall. I understand Marshall's a 1-1 team this season. They lost a 90 to 80 game, to the Toledo Rockets. But they had a huge night out of that. They had a huge night in that game out of Nate Martin, their 6'8 forward, who had 17 points, 14 boards in that game. I think Marshall's obviously the better team. I think Southern Indiana, again, coming off of that game where they came back from behind to get back in the ball game against Bucknell. They were really on their way to victory in the Bucknell game. They fall apart. They collapsed at the end of the fourth quarter. I mean, hell, at one point in time in that game, USI, according to ESPN's probability machine, had over an 85% chance to win this basketball game. They choked it away. They had a pretty decent night shooting in the first half and completely fell apart. Really, up until the final 3 minutes in overtime, Southern Indiana was shooting the ball well. I don't think they're able to replicate that performance. Now they go on the road to Marshall. I'd expect Marshall to go out here and dominate this basketball team. They're getting, 9.5 points in the line. Again, I think Marshall's able to do it. Southern Indiana played one of their best games. I think they're going to play the entire season against Bucknell up until the final couple minutes. I don't think they're able to replicate that. I like the Thundering Herd to win this game at home, and I like the Thundering Herd to cover the 9.5 points as well. Let's move on to our next game. We go to Virginia as we got the VTech Hokies hosting Winthrop. Again, the theme is big favorites, and I feel like VTech winning this game by double digits makes sense. I really think it does. 9.5 doesn't feel like that much for Virginia Tech to cover here. They've done it in back-to-back games. Now, don't get me wrong, Delaware State and South Carolina and upstate South Carolina are not near where Winthrop is. I understand that. But VTech should still be able to go out there and beat Winthrop by double digits. The Winthrop Eagles are 2-0. They have beat Piedmont, and they beat Little Rock in their last game by 15 points, which is great. It's awesome. Virginia Tech, simply put, just the better basketball team. This is a VTech team last year that barely missed out on the NCAA tournament. They went to the NIT, won in the first round against Richmond, then lost in the second round to Ohio State. But VTech, again, so far this year, 2-0, and I feel like this line just isn't big enough. I don't think it is. Virginia Tech's at home. I get it. They're not an insane team or anything like that. They're a good they're a middle of the pack ACC basketball team. But a middle of the pack ACC basketball team should be able to beat Winthrop. They just should. Winthrop was a team that was just mediocre last season in the Big South. They went 8-8 in conference, lost their first conference tournament game to Longwood, which ended their season. They were really nothing special. They played a couple ACC schools last year. They did cover this line against Florida State. They only lost the game by 6, but then they played Clemson and lost the game by 22 points. I like VTech to dominate this basketball game. I really do. Again, the game is in Virginia. I'd expect Virginia Tech to take over this one, and I think they just simply run away with it. I think you see a big night out of Lowell, who put up, I think it was 20 points in their over 23 points against Delaware State, 10 in their second game. And then you had Poteet, who put up 19 and 14 in their first two respective games. He's coming in, he's a third-year player at VTech, but a former Rice forward. I like Virginia Tech to beat Winthrop. Again, VTech, they reloaded in the offseason. I don't mind this team at all. Again, are they going to win? Are they going to win the ACC or anything like that? Probably not. But again, in middle of the pack ACC school like VTech should be able to absolutely dominate Winthrop. They should. Okay, I get it. Winthrop has had their seasons in the past. They've been a tournament team in the past. Actually, it's been a while since Winthrop was in the tournament. It was 2021 the last time they were in the tournament. I understand that. Again, they are not the team that they used to be. I think Virginia Tech, again, they're always going to be solid in the ACC, and I feel fine about picking the Hokies to win this game and to cover at home as well. Again, Winthrop is a squad that is 2-0, but look at their victories, Piedmont and Little Rock. And for Virginia Tech, I get it. The teams that they have beat probably are not to the caliber that the Winthrop Eagles are, but beating Delaware State by 23 points, beating upstate South Carolina 93-74 by 19 points is telling. They have not won a game so far this season by less than 19 points. I understand they've only played 2, but I do like the VTech Hokies to win this game at home, and that's another huge factor. The game's in Virginia. I like them to cover at home and win the game again by more than 10 points. Give me the Virginia Tech Hokies as we move on to our fourth game of the day. Again, sticking with the big favorites. I do think there's actually value in Purdue minus 16.5 here. Again, I don't love taking big spreads. I always hate it, especially in basketball, because, again, you need so many things to go your right way if you are taking, again, at minus 16.5 for the Purdue Boilermakers. I completely understand that. This is not the Purdue team of, last year, obviously. Zach Edey's gone. I actually watched Zach Edey in person yesterday, believe it or not. Less than 12 hours ago, I was in Portland watching Zach Edey, and I came straight home to make a YouTube video. I'm not joking. I live pretty far from Portland, by the way. It's a state over. Regardless, and it's at the top of the state too, and I had to go all the way down. Anyways, Purdue should beat Yale, guys, obviously, and they should dominate this basketball game. Again, they're not the same Purdue team of last year, obviously. I don't think no one expects them. Well, they're not the favorites that they were last season, obviously. They still have guys. But obviously, Zach Edey, who's one of the best collegiate players ever, not being there anymore does hurt their squad, obviously. Fletcher Lawyer has returned, and he has, put up decent numbers so far this season. He's averaging 18.5. It's a step up, obviously, from his first 2 seasons at Purdue, where he averaged 11 and 10. So, the junior guard out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, continues to produce for this Purdue Boilermakers team. And you look at what Purdue has done so far this year, right? A win over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 90-73, and then a win over North Kentucky Norse, 72-50. Again, Lawyer led the team in points back-to-back nights. In their first game against Texas A&M Corpus Christi, you got 15 assists out of Braden Smith. Again, Smith, another 3-year man here for Purdue out of Westfield, Indiana. And Purdue, again, continues to get these guys who were producing when Zach Edey was around. And again, Purdue, the one spot that you might want to pick Yale in this one is that maybe Purdue is looking ahead of the Yale Bulldogs. Why? They've got number 2 ranked Alabama on the schedule on Friday. I believe Bama is going to West Lafayette to play that basketball game, but that's a huge game coming up. I am willing to pick, though, that Purdue's going to be even more fired up to play this game, okay? Because of what is next on the schedule. Because, again, yes, you have to go out and beat Yale. You are expected to go out there and beat the crap out of Yale because you know who's coming next. It's Alabama, and it's a huge basketball game. Yale, again, one of these Ivy League schools, they were a team last season who they did make the NCAA tournament, and they did beat Auburn. Again, Purdue, Yale had their little run last year. They probably, they got lucky in the Ivy League tournament. They didn't have to run into Princeton because Brown beat Princeton. And again, they barely got by Brown in their second game. Or obviously, the Ivy League tournament's just a 4-team tournament, which is kind of ridiculous, but there's only 7 teams in the conference, so I get it. Again, Yale went on their run. They beat Auburn. I understand that. Yale did, I don't think Yale is as good as last year. They did return their leading scorer in it, John Pouladikis. The senior out of Naperville, Indiana, again, has been averaging 20 points a game this season. Last year, averaged 13.5 for the Yale Bulldogs. But again, he stepped up in big moments last year in both the Ivy League tournament and in the NCAA tournament as well. I think Purdue rolls this team. This isn't March right now. There's no magic for this Yale team. They are a 1-1 school that has gone out, beat Quinnipiac. But the reason why I'm picking Purdue by such a margin is their last loss. A 12-point loss. It was on the road, but a 12-point loss to the UIC Flames, a Missouri Valley team. Come on. If you're losing by 12 points on the road to UIC, and we're getting 16.5 on the Purdue Boilermakers, we are going to jump all over it. That's really that's my thought process behind that. Guys, UIC last season was a team that went 4-16 in the Missouri Valley Conference. They were 12-21 as a whole. This was not that good of a team last season, and they just beat Yale. Yeah, give me Purdue. Give me Purdue all day long. Again, the theme of today's video is big favorites. We like another big favorite here. Give me the Purdue Boilermakers to win this game at home in West Lafayette, and I like them to completely dominate the basketball game as well. Give me Purdue to win, and I think they will take it by more than 16.5 points and cover the spread. As we go on to our final best bet of the video, we return to Hawaii. Hawaii was featured yesterday. They are featured again. They covered for us against San Jose State, who we will be fading all season long. Now, San Jose State has a game today against Life Pacific in the first half of the doubleheader in Hawaii. And if, again, it's getting late for you tonight, you need a game to bet on. It's midnight on the East Coast, 9 o'clock, on the West Coast. Monday Night Football is over between the Dolphins and the Rams. By the way, we like the Rams tonight. And here's your game to bet on. Hawaii and Pacific. Guys, Hawaii's going to absolutely dominate Pacific. Again, they're in Hawaii's territory. I get it. These teams, Pacific, San Jose State, have been in Hawaii for an extended period of time at this point. They've been there for almost a week now at the Rainbow Classic. Both these teams are undefeated. Pacific's 3-0, Hawaii's 2-0. Both of them have beat Life Pacific, and both of them have beat San Jose State. The only additional victory for Pacific is a win over Jesuit University in their first game. I don't care how well Pacific is playing this year. Again, this was the worst team in the West Coast Conference last season, and one of the worst teams in all of college basketball last season. They went 0-16 in conference. Their conference tournament game against Pepperdine, they started the game down 52-8. I don't care. And again, they've seen a lot more production this season. They went out, Elias Ralph is a big-time player for them. He is a senior. It's his first year at Pacific, and he's been playing lights out this season. He has led their team in points in 2 games so far this year. And their win over Life Pacific, again, that was a game that was won at 94-41. Elijah Fisher was the leading scorer for the Pacific Tigers, the junior out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Came in from DePaul last season, used to play at Texas Tech for his freshman season, and now here he is at Pacific. I don't really care they made these adjustments. Hawaii is the better team. Obviously, they're coming up the Big West. They got a big performance last night out of Tanner Christensen, who he put up 20-8 last night against San Jose State. And that was a game, again, where San Jose State stayed competitive. But again, you get Christensen, the transfer out of Utah Tech. Prior to that was playing at the University of Idaho. But you get, again, the production out of the senior out of Spokane Valley, Washington. So this was a close game. This Hawaii-San Jose State game was close. And then Hawaii just pulled away in the second half. San Jose State was up at halftime, but what happened? Hawaii, again, just pulled away. San Jose State cannot maintain a lead, and San Jose State, simply put, cannot keep up scoring with a lot of these teams. I think Hawaii is going to be able to outscore Pacific. I think they play better defense than Pacific, and I get it. Hawaii, again, lost 2 of their main contributors on offense and on defense last season. Lost 2 of their primary starters last year. I get that. Pacific, though, I don't think is much improved. I think they're better than last year, but not much more improved. And I do think Hawaii is still very capable of winning this game, and obviously that's why we're picking them. We like the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors in the nightcap. They are getting 4.5 points. I think they cover that fairly easily. Again, sure, you can play the math. Oh, Pacific beat San Jose State by 13 points, and Hawaii only beat them by 9 or 11. That doesn't really apply, I don't think. Again, you look at this game matchup-wise, Hawaii's the better team. This is the final game. This is the final game of this little rainbow classic between Hawaii, Pacific, Life Pacific, I guess, and San Jose State. I think Hawaii sweeps the board here. I think they go to 3-0. Again, they are playing in their environment in Hawaii. I understand, again, Pacific has been there for a while at this point, but still, Hawaii's in their environment. And again, this line screams hammer Hawaii. I know, again, it's not last season anymore, but still the identity is still there for the Pacific Tigers. They are not going to be a good team in the West Coast Conference this season. They've seen success early, sure, but look at the teams they've played. 2 D2 schools, and the worst team in the Mountain West, the San Jose State Spartans. Pacific's bad, man, and they got to go to Arkansas next Monday. Why are they going to Fayetteville? I do not know. Then they go to Missouri after. Why are they playing SEC ball? I don't know. But give me the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors to dominate this game against Pacific. They will cover the 4.5 points, and of course, they will stroll a victory in the nightcap at 9 p.m. Pacific in Hawaii at the Rainbow Classic. So, folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets here for the college basketball slate on November 11th. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to join us in an hour for our NBA predictions, and make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. If you do disagree with any of the picks, make sure to leave a comment. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.